I'd say we should start.
Just start, right? Screw it. 2 minutes early, latecomers, it's your own fault.
If you're not early, you're late. Like a girl says.
Yeah, if you're not early, you're late. And what a better way, there's no better way really for us to kick off this episode than to kick it off 2 minutes early by saying if you're not early, you're late. Welcome to the Social Happy Hour. These are weekly broadcasts pending, of course, illnesses, Pope visits, hurricanes, etc., natural disasters. We have this show every week, right here at the Gaslight in Philadelphia, where I get to enjoy old fashions and chippin' nubbits, and I bring on fabulous guests, and we talk about all sorts of stuff in the world of marketing, sales, social media, technology, apps, you name it. I get smart-ass people to come on and talk about cool stuff. So, I want to give a shout out to my producer, Alyssa, who as always is super amazing and cool. She's on the ones and twos, looking for your questions, telling us when we're getting lots of hearts because it makes us happy, and otherwise keeping the show on track. This program will take anywhere between 30 minutes and an hour, depending on where the conversation goes. We're going to have two different topics, and today I have a guest, Francine Graglia. Francine and I actually have known each other for not even a year at this point, I would say. But we have become extremely close. We're doing a workshop together on selling that is based on the Michael Kort Book Yourself Solid system, which Francine knows a tremendous amount about. And today we're going to be talking about marketing and sales as topic one. And topic two, we're going to be moving into the art of public speaking, the business of public speaking, how to be a good public speaker, all that sort of good stuff. And Francine has studied under one of the best for both of these topics. And we're really just going to dive deep into it. So Francine, thank you for being on the show. And why don't you tell the people that are watching just a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you come from, what your background is. Give them the quick story so that they have context for why we're going to be eating chip and nubbits together.
Exactly. So as Jeff said, I'm Francine Graglia. My background was about 10 years in the real estate arena.
Wait, pause 1 second. Can you ask, can you just watch, can you hear us? Give us a couple hearts if you can hear us. We just want to make sure you can hear us so that, you know, we're projecting our voice enough. There's some background noise. Yada, yada, yada.
Yep.
All right, good.
Cool.
All right, are we ready to order?
Beet salad, and then otherwise I think we're good.
Pizza, that's all?
Yep.
All right. Let me clear out some room for you guys.
So we're taking care of food, ordering. He's looking at me. I'm talking to the camera. Our lovely waiter. Again, your name?
Dante,
Hello. Dante's
pleasure
here.
to meet you.
We're going to keep this one promotional.
Sounds
Just got to
good.
let the people know.
So I have been in the real estate arena for 8 years. I
Let them know.
did not like the way the industry was teaching us how to get business. The scripts, the closing techniques, the objection handling, the cold calling. So I decided that I have to do things a different way if I was going to survive. And I did, and I decided to do it and just sell Francine, which led me to sell 10 times more than the average realtor, which then led me to serendipity. I ran into Michael Kort, New York Times bestselling author of Book Yourself Solid, who lives here in New Hope, near Philly, and just so resonated with what he taught that I decided that I wanted to help other people get booked solid using his system of how to be you, how to be genuine, and still how to sell and stand out from the crowd in your industry.
I love that. Teaching people how to be genuine.
Yeah,
Isn't that funny?
right?
You need to teach people how to be genuine and authentic. So, what's interesting is that you mentioned there is that you were more successful than your peers because you learned to sell Francine instead of selling the product. So I guess the first question that leads me to, I mean, because obviously all of you watching can see Francine is dynamic. She's got a lot of energy to her. She's very personable. She's got a great smile. Look at that smile. So for you, obviously, selling yourself is an asset because you have a lot in the way of energy. What advice would you have for people that are just boring as sin? Or that, seriously, like, I think about this all the time because I find myself giving advice to people and it sounds a little bit like the hot girl saying, well, just be prettier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I'm saying to people, like, use your personality, use humor, really connect with people, assume the high social status position and be the alpha in the room, subject matter authority. What happens when you don't have any of that stuff? How do you go about selling yourself instead of relying on the weight of the product
Right, and that's
or service.
And it's interesting you say that because I will also work with clients and they're kind of like, well, I don't have your personality. The beauty is what I teach people to do is it's a process that you can custom craft to you because it's not scripted. There's nothing that you have to say if I don't deliver this way. The beauty of it is that my personality does not necessarily attract people who are not like me. Therefore, if you have a more laid-back personality, you're quiet, you might be an introvert, you're going to attract those people, and that's the goal. So if we know who we are, what our strengths are, and we play to our strengths, we play to our personality, and from that we add in the value people get from working with us, because of the services we deliver, we've now created this irresistible message that is only you. Even though you're in a competitive industry like real estate, like financial planning.
Okay. So let me push back on you though, because because here's the thing. Immediately I'm thinking about different examples here. So let's say I'm an accountant, and maybe I'm laid back as an accountant. I may be looking for outgoing, crazy entrepreneurs like us, and that's actually who would serve me best. Is probably someone who's more reserved or more laid back. How then can you sell outside of your personality? How can you do? And is it something that you have to do and change in yourself, or is it something you have to do in terms of a process you have to follow?
I think that part of that is that you have to take the process and you have to go out there and. I have let people know this is who I do my best work with. You can't take yourself too seriously. That is a deal breaker for me. If you take yourself too seriously, we're not working together. So I think you have to sort of set those guidelines, and then there could be even maybe it's hobbies that you have in common with someone. So there's certain things that when you look at that ideal client and that target market, and you can find similarities. So I think you base their brand on a hobby. And that brings them then the people who like that hobby but don't necessarily have that same personality.
Got it.
So there's lots of different ways you can go about doing that. It's really about who you like to work with and who you want to attract, and then finding similarities and commonalities of ways to go and attract and bring in those people.
So let's actually go there, because what we're talking about here when we're talking about attraction is actually different than sales. That's marketing. So what we're looking for is how do we build the conversation that draws the right people to us, so that when they come to us and when they get there, we have a conversation to have with them about sales. So does marketing make you money?
No, marketing is the vehicle that creates the awareness. And it's what you do with that awareness that's going to make you the money. So you can do all the marketing in the world, and we all know, coming from our arena, when you're not making your sales, the marketers say you got to do more marketing. And the salespeople say you got to do more cold calling. You got to memorize your scripts. You got to close, do objection handling. And really, neither of them are true. Look at the practical perspective of getting a client. The marketing's just creating the awareness.
So let me ask you this though, because you brought up a couple things there. You said the marketer says you got to do more marketing, you got to build more awareness. The salesperson says you need to do more cold calling, you need to do more outbound. And then on both sides of it, you're saying that neither one of them really works. So let me ask you this: cold calling, is that marketing or sales?
The cold calling, the way it is taught to us, is cold calling to make a sale.
Yeah, I would argue that cold calling is marketing. So what about sales resources, for instance? So you put together a white paper or a video. That's a marketing resource, but it's also a sales resource. So I guess what my question is where's the dividing line between when something is a marketing activity and when something is a sales activity? Because I think too often we see marketing and sales don't talk to one another enough, number one. Number two, they're consistently trying to do each other's jobs. So salespeople are trying to market themselves, and marketing people are being held accountable for driving sales. So where is the overlap, or is there an overlap?
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because there needs to be that gap between the marketing and the selling needs to be filled. And the thing is that they need to unite and they need to talk to each other, because the salesperson these days is also a marketer. That's just how it is. So you may have a company where a marketing department is there. If they are not closely united with the sales salesperson, and that salesperson cannot go out and speak what the marketing department is doing, it's going to be a disconnect as far as the company goes. That salesperson, even if you have a marketing department, should still be able to do their own marketing, create their own content to bring in those clients that they're meant to bring in. So if you and I were working for the same company, we may not attract the same people. But Francine would have her process of, here's my content, here's what I'm looking to attract, Jeff would have his, but we'd all meet in the middle for one united thing of, this is what my company does. And that's the piece that's missing even in big business. This is why the marketers are here, the salespeople are here, and everyone's frustrated. So in order to alleviate all that, to reduce that, if you have a marketing and a sales department, they've got to come together, and sales managers have got to give their people the ability to go out and create content and create self-promotion strategies and have ways of bringing in people that they're meant to serve and have their own little pipeline.
So it's basically like treating each of the salespeople as a product that the marketing team needs to help market and enable and equip. And I think what you're also saying is that there needs to be not just communication, but I think some overlap between the skill sets. That marketers need to understand how salespeople operate. They need to understand the process. In the same way, salespeople need to understand the marketing process and help create content, help do a lot of those things.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly right. So it's interesting because one of the things when we were in real estate, there were people who you could purchase content and then you send it to your sphere of influence. The crazy thing was that we were all sending the same content. So how was that showing who I was as a person?
Yeah.
How was that showing my expertise? It wasn't. And that's what is going on in the field where they're not allowing the salespeople to show their expertise and the value they truly bring to the client. And that's what's missing. The salespeople are why people are hiring them, not because of the great brochures that were done.
So let me ask you one more question before we shift topics. Oh, so lost it, but I got it. So when were you in real estate? What year?
2002 to 2010.
2002 to 2010. So somewhere in that period of time, let's call it 2006, we see the birth of social technologies as a thing that businesses start to take notice of. Now, really, they haven't taken too much. They haven't fully gotten to it yet, but it's become a thing. How have you seen, in the time that you've been doing this, these new technologies shifting and altering the sales process? Have you seen it in the way that you advise clients and the way you yourself operate? How have these tools changed your day-to-day?
So I just wrote a LinkedIn post about that.
Did you?
Here's my thing about the social media and the internet, which, again, like you said, was not where it is now. I was thinking I was in the business. I find that the fabulous thing is that we can reach so many people at once. That's the good news. The bad news is we can reach so many people at once. Therefore, there are the self-proclaimed experts who are out there spewing advice, which they have no business talking about, and the consumer is more confused than ever as to what to do, which is why they're now out there saying, I'm just going to do my own education online, and then I'll worry about who I'm going to call. So I just read a crazy statistic from another sales expert who I love, Jill Conrath, who had said that the statistic was that I think it was 65% of the people have already decided before they even call you who they're going to go with and who they're going to hire. So imagine all the other people who aren't going to get the call.
Yeah.
And the thing is that for the people who truly are the experts who are mastering their craft, to get heard above the noise is really difficult when social media comes in. That's where you have to work even harder at mastering your craft, being known as the expert, making sure you're getting in front of your exact audience. So when you use social media for good and not evil, it is great. But it's still that tool of creating the awareness, like we're doing right now.
Yep.
It's not going to be that tool for booking the sale. So it gives you the capability of another venue and avenue for creating awareness. But it's also a little bit of I've now got to compete more with everyone else who's saying they're an expert at what they do.
I'm going to give you a few minutes to eat your beet salad while I address this question from the audience.
Go for it.
That's going to be the first thing, and then we're going to go to our second topic.
Okay.
The question that came from the audience was, how do PR and ads fit in? So I'll just field this. So PR is an amazing awareness building tool. Bill Gates was once quoted as saying, and I'm going to paraphrase him because I'm not sure it's the exact quote, but if I had $1 left, I would spend it on PR. I think that's what his quote was. It was something essentially highlighting the importance of PR. Now, I don't share that same sentiment. I think PR can be a massive waste of money. It can also be extremely valuable. But what PR does is it allows you to reach a mass audience to build some awareness around something. I think now more than ever, though, you can't just rely on PR. You have to have that next step for when people then go and look into you. When they go and look into you, do they see social proof where other people are talking positively about you? Do they see testimonials and things like that? Do they also see evidence that you know what you're talking about in your copy, in your content, in the types of clients that you've worked with? So is there the next level? Because if you just rely on PR, sure, you can build up some awareness and you'll get some calls. And you know, I was featured in a New York Times article and on the New York Times blog, and that got me a bunch of clients. And that just came by way of a referral to referral, and that's how it all happened. So I think PR is an amazing amount of value. That being said, if I had $1 left, I probably wouldn't spend it on PR because you're going to need about 8,000 more of them before you even get a bite in a local paper. So I think PR is a component of the awareness building. It's a top of funnel activity, but it's generally not going to drive sales, I don't think. So it's a marketing tool, not a sales tool. As far as ads go, I think ads have kind of begun to toe that line because of how targeted they've become, specifically using online technology. You look at something like a pay-per-click ad. You can buy a keyword for somebody who is, so for instance, let's say you purchase the keyword, buy Nike basketball sneakers. If somebody's typing that in, they're in a purchase mindset. So buying that ad gives you direct access to somebody who is in a purchase. It is a sales ad. And that being said, there could also be how do I fill in the blank type ads. And those are awareness building potentially. So you can use ads either on the marketing or on the sales side. Again, marketing and sales, the line is becoming blurrier and blurrier. I think it actually serves two functions. And because now our ads, like on Facebook or on Twitter, give you the conversion tracking, you can actually track the ROI and sales effectiveness of each of these ads relative to a conversion. So I think they actually fit in both sides. So marketing and sales, more than ever, they're overlapping, they're converging, and the line is becoming blurred. So I want to pause real quick, and I just want to thank our sponsors again. Every week that we do this show, which we're trying to make it every week, is the Gaslight. They have been amazing as sponsors for us. They've given us the ability to, one, take an entire corner of their restaurant so that we can sit and have these conversations with as little background noise as possible and the best possible lighting. We also get to come in and drink during the happy hour, which is great because the old fashions are only $5, which is rad.
This is like so yummy.
And the chicken nuggets, you know how I love these chicken nuggets. They're delicious. So we again want to thank the Gaslight for making it possible for us to have this show, for sponsoring it and actually giving us a budget so it doesn't cost us a ton out of pocket to be able to do this kind of show. So thank you again to the Gaslight. If you're in Old City around 2nd and Market, make sure you stop in the Gaslight. Mention that you saw it on Social Happy Hour. Maybe they'll hook you up, give you a free drink. I can tell you for certain if you check in on Yelp, you're going to get a free drink. That's relatively new, and I would suggest the Old Fashioned. They actually have it on draft. No lie. I think they did that because of me. Not sure.
Oh, cool.
Right? I am an Old Fashioned influencer. That's actually not totally untrue. I have a Foursquare list of all of the best Old Fashions in Philadelphia.
Yeah, you should make that like a...
I should do this.
There you go.
Sure thing.
So
let's talk about our next topic.
yes. Go for it.
Public speaking. So this is another one of those pretty girl telling everybody else to just be prettier. Because let's be real. I get on stage and I just feel it in every cell of my body. I live for it. I get up there and I have no fear. In fact, I am the antithesis of fear when I get on stage. I remember the very first time I got on stage, there were 160 people in the audience, and I was like shaking before. It was my first one ever. I was shaking. I was so nervous. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? What if I screw up? Oh my God, I started like getting close to hyperventilating, and they were like, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Gibbard. And it was like flatlined. No more fear, no more nerves, just pure command of the stage.
And that's not typical.
right?
It's not
That's
typical.
not typical.
I actually read a stat that said the number one fear in life people have is public speaking, and the number two is death.
Right. Was it Jerry Seinfeld thing?
I think that's a Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah, you'd rather be in the box than
Yeah.
delivering the eulogy.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I think it was Jerry Seinfeld. But there's statistics around it. It is a stat, or it's a Jerry Seinfeld
I
bit,
think it's
whatever.
a fear of public humiliation.
Fear of public humiliation, whatever. But public speaking naturally, I think, fits into that. And I think there are people who that terrifies the hell out of them, and they would rather die than do that. There are people who would rather be in a shark cage than public speaking. I can't understand that. But I guess my point is this: you get on stage and you light it up. People come and watch you. They pay money to come and see you speak.
They throw money at me.
They throw money, and other people are terrified they're going to throw
Underwear,
tomatoes.
money.
Yeah, right. There's bras on stage by the time I'm done. So, but the point is that you've spent probably a lot more time rehearsing, working on your craft. I, admittedly, sorry, Michael Port, have not really been much of a rehearsal
you
type
want
of guy.
to.
I do. It's on my list of things to do. But I go up and I know my material. I know that I'm going to be engaging. I know I'm pretty funny, and I'm just going to go up there and I'm going to do my thing. You go up there, I think to a certain extent you have the same sort of thing where you feel comfortable on stage, you want all eyes on you, you've done your work, you know your material. What do we tell the people who want to be able to deliver even a modest presentation in front of a room of 8 people? How do we get them to feel some little bit of that and go up there and knock it out of the park? What's our advice? What's the move?
And that's a hard thing because I know when I'm up there, I might look like, and Michael Port, who I've trained under, always teases me about this because his thing is, we're not concerned about, your legs or how your hair looks, Francine, because he knows that's my thing. You go up there and you want approval, not necessarily results. And that's what he always says to me. If you want approval, not results, you've got to think this. If you're looking for results and not approval, those fears are lessened in that respect. Because I think a lot of it is, are they going to like me? Are they going to think I'm pretty? Are they going to think I'm funny? Are they going to think I know my stuff? And we're so consumed with that we don't get up there and just be who we are and share the expertise that we have.
Well, dig down on it. Where does that... Here's why I'm asking. I don't have any of those fears. I never think about whether or not somebody's going to think I look good, or if they like what I'm wearing, or if they like the way I'm standing. I don't think about any of that. It never even enters my... And I don't mean that to be cocky. I literally just mean I don't understand. I don't get it. So, I guess I don't even know what my question is. I'm just wondering.
But so for people to do it, and it's hard because when I've worked with, not me personally, but I've been in my group of all these people. There was a gal who literally got up there with index cards and shook uncontrollably the entire time. And her story, and she's actually in the book. She's a friend of mine, Lori, and Michael wrote about her in his book, Steal the Show, is that her story is that when she was a child, I don't know what the whole thing was, but she had said something. Her mom had smacked across the face. From then on, she lost her voice. She was 10 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got it.
Which has hindered her from this. So I think that sometimes we
It's
have
always the mother's fault.
It is. Well, my kids, I said to my kids, it's always my fault, right?
Are there any moms out there watching this?
Stop.
You
Stop
could make
now.
or break a public speaking career.
But I think one of the things is to dig deep and say, really, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
What's the worst thing that could happen with me being up there? Right?
I think the worst thing that and I'll say that, I think the worst thing that could ever happen with me being on stage is that I do a good job. Good. Good job. Good.
It was okay.
It was okay. Mediocrity is the worst thing that could possibly happen to me on stage.
And guess what? Even
Everything else is YouTube sensation.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And even if they said, oh, they suck. Okay, so what? So you go and then you master your craft. You work on it.
Let me ask you this though. So, do you have a secret? To picture the audience naked or rehearse. What's your way of getting up there and feeling calm and just knowing it?
Honestly, I never feel calm when I'm up there. And even Michael, who gives speeches for, ungodly amounts of money, says he's always nervous before a speech. that feeling is not necessarily nervousness as much as I want to serve my audience really, really well, and I don't want to let them down.
Got it. So I'm nervous before every podcast, every one of these, every public speaking event. I'm nervous before every one because my worry is this going to be the time? Is this going to be the one where I bomb? Is this going to be the one? But I'll tell you this, the minute my foot hits the stage, it's all gone. And I haven't been able to assess what it is or how I do it. So I'm curious if you can give any sort of insights into what allows you to get out of your head enough to just rock it.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is feeling really comfortable with the material. So if you're up there and you're winging it, and I know you're not saying you're winging it, because you do know your stuff. No, but if you're winging it, that definitely, you're going to be like, what about this? So I think the fact that you've really well rehearsed, you know it, you might still have that anxiety of, am I going to miss something? But that whole fear-based aspect of it is really a lot less than you're just going up there and speaking on something that you might feel really passionate about, but have not rehearsed on. And it's really all in the rehearsal. It really is. I gotta tell you. The rule of thumb was it a minute for, an hour for every minute of your speech. Think about that.
So 60 hours of presentation for an hour presentation.
Yeah. I worked with Michael when he was rehearsing for his Think Big Revolution one-man show. I mean, he did this without me, obviously, but every weekend I was there for hours, for months in advance, feeding him lines. He was rehearsing. I grew here still. During the week, he was rehearsing. So it's in the rehearsal, it's in the preparation. And that, then when you get there, it's like, you know what? You know my shit.
Yeah.
And when you know that what you're delivering is going to help even just one person in that audience, you're not going to connect with everyone. They're not all going to be like resonating with it. You can get one person in that audience to resonate with what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that actually brings up a good point. Then I have a question here that I'm going to get to in a second.
Sure.
You bring up a good point about connecting with the audience. That actually makes me think that one of the things that I've found that has been very helpful for me is that I tend to make eye contact and connect with somebody in the audience, and I tend to move from person to person and talk to one person, and then I talk to one person. And what I found is that it actually creates a more engaged audience overall. And throughout the course of it, I've had people come up to me and they're like, I felt like you were just talking to me throughout that. And I found that that's a way that it allows me to get out of my own head about stuff and really just focus on that one person who's going like this. Right. I love when that, like,
They're the ones.
They're the ones.
Yeah.
And you know, the only time I've ever found myself a little bit out of it is when I've seen somebody who's like a little bit tuned out. And one of the funny things I say at the beginning of every one of my talks is, I have my ground rules. I'm like, you can interrupt me, call your mother, she worries. I have all these different things.
Yeah.
And one of them is don't fall asleep. And I once remember I gave a talk, it was at 6:30, like it was after work, regular work day, and a bunch of people in there. It was for the Hispanic Chamber of
probably
Commerce.
sleeping on us.
Yeah, don't sleep. Wake up. And this guy fell asleep, and I was like, shh, 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 shh. And then he woke up, and I was like, it's okay, I get it, it's after work. But anytime I've ever seen somebody tuned out, that's always the point where I'm like, man, am I boring?
That's the approval results thing.
Yeah. But I just feel like I'm lively enough that nobody should fall asleep. Anyway, there's a question here. How do you master a Q&A versus a public lecture? So it's a great question because the nice thing about a Q&A is that it gives you the opportunity to engage on a very improvisational level. But even, and Michael Port talks about this, that even in Q&A, you're kind of ready with a series of bits. You have, there's a lot of things. I talk about the 5 pillars of social, the 3 pillars of success in social. I talk about the 7 behaviors of social, all these different things. And I'm ready for them to bring out in a Q&A. But the difference between a Q&A and a public lecture is that in a lecture, you control the entire flow, whereas with a Q&A, you're yielding some of that control to your audience. And one of the things there's always one. And what's particularly irritating is when somebody asks you a question about something that you've already answered. And not, hey, can you clarify that thing you talked about? But instead like, hey, I wasn't paying attention, so can you say that thing again? And for me, like, I get to a point where I feel like a little bit like, well, either you got here late, or you weren't paying attention in the first place. So either way, so anyway, I don't know, I think how do you master it? I've found that the public lecture is more about your preparation for the material there, whereas the Q&A is more about your ability to think on your feet.
Yes.
And it's more about your ability to answer questions that aren't in the script, whereas the public lecture is more like you kind of call the shots, so really you can't be thrown off your game unless you have hecklers.
Right, exactly, and I agree with you. And I think the one thing about the Q&A is that you still have to control it, and you have to always think of yes and. So it's always yes and, because you're going to get those people who are going to say things because they feel that they have to, voice their opinion, which may not be what you're talking about in teaching. So it has to be yes and. You could also yes and. Imagine if you and that's key, because when you start to get adversarial on the stage with Q&A, now you're taking that to a whole other level that you don't want to go.
Yeah.
So think about yes and whenever you're doing Q&A. Michael, and he may have said this when we came to the event, he's not a big fan of Q&A after a keynote at all. A workshop, that's another story. That's a little less, structured. But in a keynote, because the thing is that when you leave your keynote, you are leaving on a note where you are in control and you've got them. Now you're like, okay, let's take questions. And now it's a whole other dynamic of the audience then. So we recommend not doing that during the keynote if that was the question.
So I've found actually that for me, Q&As are, so leaving on a high note, to that point, I found that the Q&A is a high note for me. I actually have done presentations, well, workshop, I don't know what to call it, called the Q&A session. So for the Center City Proprietors Association, I've done it twice now. I go in and I have one slide and it just says Q&A. And I just let everybody ask questions.
Perfect.
And I found that people seeing my ability to think on my feet and answer questions has always been a real asset of mine. So I actually have a different take on it, just because I've found that leaves me on a high note. Another thing I was going to say about the Q&A. I forget. One of the things I always think about with the Q&A, and that you said don't be adversarial, but I do think that there's a certain alpha dominance that you have to exhibit, because what I've noticed a lot in Q&As is people will raise their hand or come up to the mic, and before they even get to their question, they start with a 5-minute dissertation about their life, right? And you're like, ask your effing question. So typically it's a long-winded, self-indulgent situation, like, just ask your effing question. But everybody wants their moment in the sun, I guess. So I do think that in the Q&A, one of the aspects of mastery is to be able to make sure you shut that down. So it may seem rude or may seem short, but you gotta have a way to kind of make it somewhat humorous. I find humor is a great way to diffuse any sort of perception of rudeness. So saying something like along the lines of like, somebody goes into a long-winded speech and you can be like, so your question is, got it. And it may not be hilarious, but the point is to kind of like get like, hey, I get it, but you're kind of, other people have questions to ask. So another question that we have just come in is public speaking as self-selling.
Self-selling,
and how do you stay educational?
Yes, perfect. So this is actually one of the things that I've been working on, as you know. So my keynote speech is, I don't want to say not a motivational speech, but it is a teaching speech. So in my keynote, as you know, you heard it, I am telling my story, my big idea, how the world is. You know what your world is like. Here's how your world can be. That's what you want to tell people. So you tell your audience, I know what your world is like. Maybe you're not selling, blah, 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 blah. Here's how your world can be. This is your big idea. Maybe it's not about sales. Maybe your audience, maybe it's a motivational thing. Maybe you're speaking to women who have had a rough time in life. So this is how your world is now. This is how it can be. So there's different ways. You have to take your big idea. You create your keynote. You can teach in it. And from there, then you can upsell, quote unquote, from that. So when I do my keynote, and you can go to my YouTube channel, Francine Graglia, and you can see my keynote there. But it's only 4 minutes, so it's just a demo reel. But I teach in it. And then after that, people know, oh, that's what she does. And from there, it leads to sales conversations. So your speaker your speaking can be used as a for free or not for free, or for pay. You can speak and use that as a self-promotion strategy, but always have the next step.
Yeah.
Typically, if you're speaking for free, they allow you to do an upsell. If you're speaking for money, they may not allow you to sell after that. So there are ways that you can collect names still of the people in the audience, but absolutely, that is like my most favorite self-promotion strategy because it's not one to one, it's one to many. So I love that.
Okay.
That's it.
I'll give you one more thing about that, and then we're gonna wrap. Actually, we're running low on battery on our phone. But one of the things that I would say is leave them wanting more. So whenever I approach a presentation of any sort, I go in with the goal of delivering as much value in that period of time as I've got. I want to leave people with like, damn, that guy was awesome, and he gave me so much juicy material to walk away from, because that's going to create memory. That's going to create a memorable experience for them, and when they're looking for what you offer, they may come back to you. But you always have to leave them wanting more. So that's the sort of thing where at the end you say, and you know, I've got one more big secret, but I don't have time to give it to you today. Lucky for you, on my website, if you sign up, you can get a download of this thing that I'm talking about, and you can bring people onto your list and turn that into a sales opportunity down the road.
And most people allow you to do that, even if they're paying you, they allow you.
Even if they allow you to say, you know what,
Yes.
and just for you, and you make it, you know, you can create a landing page for whatever it is. You say, just for you, because you attended, I created this PDF guide. You can download it. It's a checklist. It'll give you everything you need to know, whatever it is. So you create this little bit of an information gap where you give them enough, then there's a little bit more where they want to find it out. So you get them back to your site, they sign up, you give them the payoff. So I think that's the way you do it. It's never be hard selling in your presentation. Every time I've seen that, I'm like, what am I watching, a sales pitch? And nobody likes that.
Running to the back of the room.
And nobody wants that. So you make it nice, you make it all about them. You make it all about the audience. You say, I've got more for you. You got to come to my site to get it. But all you got to do is give me your email address, sign up on my list, and I swear, it'll be worth it. So I think that about wraps the concepts we have today. Marketing and sales, public speaking. Francine Graglia, you are a freaking rock star. White wine, old fashions, the social happy hour. Thank you for joining us for happy hour. We are here at the Gaslight Philadelphia in Old City, Philadelphia.
Come down.
Second and Market around. Great chicken nuggets, great happy hour. Check in on Yelp, you get a free drink. Great beet salad. Want to thank my producer Alyssa for being a total rock star. And please tune in next week when we come back with another fabulous guest for another fabulous happy hour.